I expected a bit better. I think as a whole, she's promoting some good stuff. I'm just a bit disappointed by this. Once again, TFNL Tuesdays has arrived and we're doing another video, obviously. We're doing another reviewing workout series where I basically have a look at workouts that have been sent to me or that I've found from influencers and give my opinion on them. This is not a full analysis, this is merely my opinion on the video I'm watching at the given time. I will be covering all of these influencers at a later date in greater detail, but this is merely just me talking about the videos I'm watching, but I also understand it's not necessarily an accurate representation of their other content. Before we start, we've got to do a few things, and one of those things is a weekly piece of headwear. I like to feel like an elegant butterfly, and wearing headbands allows me to do just that. And sometimes I find myself feeling a bit more aerodynamic with a headband. So when I'm dipping and weaving through all the content, I feel like wearing the headband allows me to do just that optimally. I'm a prince. Frog thing. My head is quite big. And these are quite tight on my head. So by the time I'm done filming for like an hour, it bloody well hurts. What did Uncle Ben say in Spider-Man? With great headbands comes great headaches. We're gonna crack on with the video. It's go time. First person we're gonna look at is someone who's new to me, and that is Brittany Lupton. Straight off the bat, first thing I see, squats. As you know, big fan of squats on the channel. As you know, big fan of compound movements on the channel. In most cases, depth is okay. I would say there are probably a few, it seems, that are creepy above what I would consider good depth, which obviously I covered in the Caroline video last week. We know Brittany has the ability to hit depth comfortably whilst maintaining consistent technique. I think the occasional like missed rep based on depth is probably just maybe not necessarily a bit of mental laziness, but maybe just a mistaken accident. But as a whole, the technique is decent, the weight is decent, flat sole shoes. Basically, when you're lifting like spongy sole shoes like trainers, like running trainers like Nikes or whatever that may be, when you squat or when you're doing a movement that essentially involves you exerting a lot of force through the feet, it's very easy for the sponge to kind of absorb some of that force, and that then creates a bit of an unstable base, so your feet and ankles may wobble around a bit. You get these flat sole shoes, much better even spread of force across the floor. We've got sumo deadlift, another great compound movement. Her technique is not bad. Flat back, love to see that. Decent weight. The head is obviously looking up a bit. As I've covered before, you want to basically look in the direction your spine wants you to look. Knees aren't caving, which is great, which is actually a common mistake on the sumo deadlift. The knees do cave in a lot of times, but her knees seem pretty decent based on this angle. I do prefer a dead stop deadlift. And now we're looking at a back workout, so I'm expecting big things because obviously posterior chain is a big thing for me. Pull downs, solid. I really can't complain. Honestly, all I would say is maybe bump the chest up and retract the scapula a bit more. Dumbbell rows, pulling the elbow to the hip. That's also like a cue I would always give people when they are doing a dumbbell row. Arch that back slightly, bump that chest up, and focus on pulling your elbow almost down the body to the hips rather than just going straight up. This is very much a workout or similar to a workout that I would do. I'd maybe throw in something like a heavy barbell row or something similar. Based on first impressions, which is all I can really go off here, good stuff, like really good stuff from Brittany. Good exercise selection, good promotion of lifting heavy because she's shifting some fair weight. Brittany, I don't know who you are, but I respect it, I appreciate it. Everyone was telling me in the last video that I should consider bumping the like goal up because the last video did very well for likes. Last week I asked you to kindly leave me 200 likes on the video, which you did, you absolutely smashed that. But this week we're going to bump it up and we're going to say 201 likes on the video, and I'll make more videos like this because obviously it shows me that you like this type of content. And obviously, as always, if you have any workouts you want me to see and have a look at, send them to me on Instagram and I'll have a gander. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you did take the time to click the red button down below and subscribe. Maybe even tick the little bell next to it and then turn notifications on so you know when I upload every week, even though I upload every week at the same time and you should have an alarm set for that anyway. But just in case you don't, the bell will do that for you. At the end of the video, I will answer a question from the comment section last week, and if you want me to answer a question next week, drop it down below in the comment section and I shall do so. TFNL is becoming what I always wanted it to become, which is a community where people can feel safe. And honestly, I'm just really proud of the community that TFNL is building and the family it's developing. So if you are watching this video and you are part of that community and the family, I do really appreciate you and I feel extremely thankful to have you as part of TFNL. I won't take any more of your time. I'll crack on with the rest of the video. Sydney Cummings, probably the most requested person after Caroline. We're looking at a 30-minute arms and abs HIIT workout, which obviously is my favorite type of workout. As you can tell, I do HIIT a lot, which is why I weigh so much and I'm probably wildly unfit. Those are some hella shiny shoes. She has unlocked those by doing something of great achievement. Technique's pretty decent. I would say maybe control the eccentric, being the way down the negative a bit more, especially on something like a chest fly, and really make sure your shoulders are pinned back. I like side plank variations, oblique work, especially if you're deadlifting. A big thing that's commonly overlooked is the importance of obliques in a deadlift if you are using a mixed grip. So when your grip is mixed, being one hand over and one hand under, that then leads to a potential for slight rotation, and one of the main purposes and functions of the obliques is anti-rotation. Basically, strong obliques, mixed grip deadlift means that you are less likely to rotate, less likely to develop imbalances, less likely to injure yourself. Doing movements like this, I'm not a massive fan of because the range of motion is very limited. There is a lack of stretch, which then has the potential to hinder the development of the muscle. I think Sydney includes a good selection of movements in her workouts. I am going to be looking at Sydney in greater detail in the future. First impressions, which is what this video basically is, pretty decent stuff. I'm not disappointed. Jeff Nippard, someone I've actually followed for a long time, many years. I did a video on him many moons ago. Technique is bloody phenomenal, but you would expect that from Jeff. Yeah, there are a few potential issues that arise from this, like a bit of downward movement, so technically in competition it may not pass. If you're lifting a 1 rep max and it looks pretty, it's probably not a 1 rep max. The thing I like about this is that he's showing, obviously, reps in reserve, so how many you have left in the tank, but he's also showing what true failure looks like in his eyes. When we're meant to go to failure in a movement, we maybe think we're at failure, but probably had maybe 1 or 2 left in the tank. Most of us probably would have stopped at this point. Again, there is a bit of leeway with technique, a bit of body English, but that's fine, because if you're gonna force out those extra few reps and really hit failure, sometimes you do need to just be a bit more lenient with your technique. Heather Robertson, again, someone who has been very heavily requested in the comment section. Arm strength and toning workout. You know how I feel about the word toning. I see it's quite a lot with influencers when they do like an arm workout that actually incorporates quite a lot of shoulder work. To be honest, I probably wouldn't include any shoulder work. I would do that in a separate shoulder workout. With an arm workout, there's never really a mass amount to cover because the primary movements you're going to do are going to involve flexion or extension of the elbow. Quite a good thing about Heather is, like Caroline, she does perform movements in quite a slow and controlled manner, which obviously I've spoken about time under tension before. And again, the movements are quite simple, which obviously big win, big fan. It's hard to tell depth from this angle, but it does seem like she is hitting depth or maybe on the cusp. If you can't hit depth when squatting, that is something you should probably work on and address, so in the future you can. Because this is first impressions, I can't really comment massively. There are a few things that I would personally change. I do think this is pretty good stuff, and I'm quite pleasantly surprised by the content I've seen of Heather's. So this was actually sent to me by a few people. Obviously I've covered Krissy a few times before. I'm a bit of a fan. I think a lot of her stuff is pretty decent. There's a lot of controversy regarding this squat, and we're going to have a look and assess why. So it's a very heavy weight. Wrists and elbows in good position, love to see it. Chest is up. No shoes, better than spongy shoes. Wrist is rolling back a bit, not necessarily optimal. I think the big thing people are concerned about is the depth. The fact of the matter is she is not hitting depth. Personally, I would never sacrifice depth just to increase weight. When looking at your personal safety, when looking at many factors, prioritize technique. Otherwise, you do run into a greater risk of potential injury. Krissy acknowledges the fact that she didn't hit depth and basically said, this is why, this was good, this was good, this was good. But then she goes on to say how it would have been dangerous for her to essentially go ass to grass without a belt, knee wraps. That's not necessarily true. I do think if you have to rely on additional equipment to lift safely, you probably need to address your form. I do think you should learn to lift properly without added equipment, and that equipment is merely just to aid and benefit that movement even further. A prime example of someone who hits depth without any additional support is Clarence Kennedy. He squats nearly triple body weight, bum to the floor, with nothing. It's not dangerous to hit depth without equipment. There is a greater potential for injury if you choose to sacrifice technique merely to increase the weight. I don't want to say it, but for lack of a better term, ego lift. And somebody, being Ali Upton, did give her thoughts and opinions on this, which I did really appreciate. She didn't attack Krissy. She merely stated that suggesting people lift like this and almost promoting lifting like this could be potentially damaging, and almost enforces that it is okay to lift like this and potentially ego lift. And it's nice to see somebody give their thoughts and opinions in quite a politically correct manner, but essentially kind of call out someone of influence, merely just to say, actually, you know what, I expected a bit better and maybe be more considerate in the future. And she spoke about optimal depth for humans when squatting. Gonna be honest, I feel like that is potentially an excuse that Krissy is making because she knows she's probably in the wrong a bit. I'm not going to go into the science behind optimal depth and whatnot. If you have the potential to utilize the full range of motion i.e. arse to grass, you should utilise the full range of motion. And another thing I do quickly want to mention before moving on is that Krissy speaks about how obviously some people have ankle mobility hindrances that mean they can't hit depth. I've seen Krissy hit depth before, so again I feel like that's potentially a bit of an excuse. It's merely when the load increases, the depth becomes a bit questionable, which could be a mental thing. Mentally she doesn't feel like she can commit to the weight, therefore she's cutting the rep short to give her a greater chance of lifting the weight successfully. You should be scared when squatting because fear drives that desire to essentially get out the hole. Don't let your head take over. Don't let it take your confidence away from you. If the bar is on your back, you have to have full confidence that whatever happens, you're going to the bottom of the hole, which is obviously the full range of motion, and you're coming back out of it. If you start doubting yourself, you start questioning yourself, mentally you've already failed the rep. As I've said before, I'm a bit of a fan of Krissy. I think as a whole, she's promoting some good stuff. I'm just a bit disappointed by this. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes. I've made plenty of them. These are just my thoughts and opinions on what I've seen and what I've been sent. I was due to cover one more athlete, which was Athlete X, but unfortunately, I think this video is far longer than I actually expected it to be, so I'm going to have to delay that for the next video. It's just I don't want to risk cutting more information than necessary just to kind of squeeze in some more content. So I do apologise, that's my fault. He's 4 months old, and look at the size of him. Oh, you're so sleepy when I film. Hello, handsome. One day your head is going to be big enough and you're going to start wearing hats for videos. It's cuddle time. Okay, no, we're going over. We're going over. Back to common question of the week. The dog is, he's there, the puppy is right there looking at me, and he's assessing the video and the content, so I'm under pressure now. Lily D asks, which range of motion do you think is better for muscle building? Half reps, like slash partials, or full range? There is a time and a place for both. Partials do have their place, especially when you're getting towards like maybe the end of a set where you're trying to hit failure and you get a few partials out just to kind of help with that overload, or if you're trying to strengthen certain areas of a movement. As a whole, I would always say prioritize full range of motion. I think in most cases you need to go from a full stretch to a full contraction to really optimize your potential for growth. So prioritize full range of motion if you're trying to build muscle. Partials have a place, they come second to full range of motion in most cases. But that's it, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did enjoy the video, let me know you enjoyed the video by dropping a like down below. Obviously, you know what I said, 201 likes, and we'll make more videos like this, even though we're probably going to make more videos like this anyway. And on top of that, if you did enjoy the video, or maybe if you didn't enjoy the video, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, because I'd love to hear them. Obviously, I know I said it earlier, but I'm going to repeat myself because I repeat myself a lot. It's a bad habit. I need to get out of it, but I've done it for all my life, and it's going to be hard to fix. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate if you did subscribe to the channel. The red button down below, the click and the bell and the notifications every Tuesday, TFNL Tuesdays video with me and the hat and the headwear and the puppy. So many things to look forward to. If you have any questions you want me to answer at the end of the next video, comment question of the week. If I don't get to your question, just ask it again and then eventually I will. I'm sorry, but I do appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much for all the support and the love for TFNL. Like, honestly, I'm so proud of the community it's building. I'm so proud of everyone who's part of the TFNL family. I would say thank you so much for tolerating the puppy, but I feel like everyone more than tolerates the puppy. But thank you for tolerating me, thank you for tolerating my channel, and thank you for tolerating the video.